So last year for the Feast of Tabernacles in 2025, I do what I do every year for the festival. I get a tent that is my tabernacle, and I camp outside in my backyard for 7 days. My tent is right next or up against our patio, 5 to 7 feet from the entrance of our back sliding doors leading into our kitchen. And I love the Feast of Tabernacles. It's my favorite holiday and the only time I will camp or do ever camp outside in honor of the feast. But last year of 2025, there was some creepy interruptions at night going on. Never experienced it before on a too close for comfort scale. I have seen demonic things out in my backyard from a distance since the very first year I have ever honored the Feast of Tabernacles. And where you are trying to honor God, there is Team Satan trying to deter that. But I'm a warrior, so I didn't let it bother me. It was creepy, but I felt protected, and I pray mightily in defense against all forces of evil. So I knew I was protected, and to not let it stop me from honoring the feast. But last year at night in my tent, there were 2 nights where I heard someone walking up in my backyard towards my tent. Nobody should be in my backyard. Nobody comes in my backyard. I don't have a dog anymore. He was unfortunately killed. So it should be just me out there. But clearly someone was out there with me that night. I was out in the tent and I heard them clearly walking around. The first night it happened, I'm still up. It's late and I heard something land down out of one of my trees in the backyard down to the ground. It was a loud, heavy noise upon landing down, and immediately, my brain associated the noise to the movie Predator. My brain was like, Predator just jumped his behind down from your tree into my backyard. So I'm trying not to freak out because logically, Lena, it could be a branch that was dead and now fell down off onto the ground. But then, seconds shortly after, I heard footsteps. After the loud thud falling down to the ground, I heard footsteps walking up towards my tent. So I quickly texted my husband in a "get out here, someone's out here" startling text, because I wanted him to catch whoever it was without me alarming the whomever with a scream or just hearing me on the phone calling my husband in for reinforcement. So my husband, with friends called Smith and Wesson, quickly rushed outside, and I'm in the tent waiting because the footsteps are getting closer and closer, and my husband don't play when it comes to me. I know in any second he's gonna be out here, and he does. He comes rushing out, locked and loaded. I stay dug down in my tent because I don't want bullets in me naturally. But he comes out and looks around, seeing nothing. And I'm guessing that because I'm in the tent, I don't really see him, but I hear him rushing out. And it's just silence. And I'm like in the tent waiting for the sound of a gun to go off or seeing, or waiting to hear his reaction of someone being out in the yard. But after some seconds, I asked, "Do you see it?" And he's like, "There's nobody out here." So I come out the tent and look out and I see nothing or nobody. Now my backyard is pitch dark. There's light from our house. There's a rusted color light from the light pole near the house that shines a limited perimeter uh, out in the yard. But for the most part, my backyard is pitch dark. And him nor I could see anything. I take a flashlight and I go to the tree where I heard something fall or land down from. And there's no falling branch. Not a heavy one, not a light one. Nothing of heavy size that could have fallen down to make the loud thud that I heard. And my husband is looking at me crazy saying, I just heard a squirrel. Like I don't know what a squirrel sounds like living in this part of Texas all my life. But okay, I managed to shrug it off ultimately. My husband asked me to come inside, which I refused because I will not be scared off from my tabernacle. So he and his friends, Smith and Wesson, go in the house. I go back in my tent and go to sleep. The next night, I'm asleep in my tent. It's late at night. I'm awakened by the sounds of footsteps again. That sounds like they are carefully approaching towards my tent. It sounds like a person, not an animal with 4 legs, but a person with 2 legs walking up to my tent. And they get so close upon my tent, it seems like outside they could be within inches. And when I was waking up to the sound of hearing someone outside my tent, my brain is processing the sound. Am I actually hearing what I think I'm hearing? So that's how whomever got so close up to my tent, because I'm trying to mentally process something that should not be taking place. Who could be really in my yard right now? How did they get in my yard right now? But I do have a weapon on me this time, and I decide to come out of my tent right before I call my husband. This time I don't text him. I'm getting ready to come out. I'm calling him on the phone, shouting, "Quick, someone's out here. Get out here now." I hang up the phone, drop that thing, and I unzip my tent, and I go outside to stand my ground with my weapon in hand, knowing my husband with his friends are coming out also. But I rush out the tent, and ready to stand my ground, I see nothing and no one. But I hear the footprints leaving, like retreating away. But I can't see the person retreating. It's like they're invisible, but I can hear their movement of going further away. My husband shows up outside with his friends locked and loaded, and I'm still hearing someone get in the way. I hear them going through the cane pose. I cannot see them, but I can clearly hear them. But my husband, not only can he not see who it is, he claims he couldn't even hear what I was hearing. I'm like pointing in the direction of where I'm hearing footprints further retreat away, and he's like, I don't hear anything at all. All I hear is crickets and coyotes in the distance. And it boggled my mind that he could not hear it. But he was like, it's time for you to get in the house and sleep in your own bed. But it was frustrating because I came out and I heard someone right by my tent, hearing them retreat away, but it was like they were invisible. I had ears but no sight on them. And my husband didn't have either. Didn't see anything. Didn't hear footprints of someone. It was crazy. And what was even crazier was the fact that by the time I called my husband, telling him to get out here, I dropped my phone. But while unzipping my tent to go out or to rush out, I heard whomever then leaving. But they were leaving very casual, very slow like. That's why when my husband came out, I was still able to hear them retreating off further away because it sounded like whomever was just carefully taking their time with leaving. And, like robbers, thieves in the night, if they try to break in a house, for instance, and the house light comes on, they are Usain bolting out of there real fast to not get caught or shot. But when I called my husband with the, quick, get out here, I didn't hear someone take off real fast. Just casually and carefully retreating back off. It was just crazy and alarming because I can't prove or verify no one is out here that I'm clearly hearing out here with me. So I ended up not staying in the tent on the last 2 nights. And my tent is still up, been up for months, but it's always really hard for me to take my tent down. I don't want to, and there's this block with me with trying to. The tent last year in 2025 was a new tent because I had reused the same tent for 2023 and 2024. I never took the tent in 2023 down. I used it again in 2024. So I bought a new 2025 tent and it's still up now in 2026. Every weekend I say I'm going to take it down, but I don't. It's like when you were younger and you really didn't want to have to take down the Christmas tree. It's that same feeling. I don't want it to leave or go away complex. I don't know. But now, since then, I have had also in my backyard a herd of hogs invade my backyard a few times at night, tearing the grass and ground up for evidence, which has never happened before. As I just was thinking around or before the hogs came out, how, I'm going to go out in my tent and just stay the night. It's been a while. Just go out and sleep. Lay under the stars or lay out on our full moon. So the thought of, what if I was out there in the tent, on the night of the hogs night, because they're now dropping by and over. And this year for the feast, which will be in the fall, it's not normal to be armed in your tabernacle. The Israelites were never armed. Maybe they were, but to be on guard about any threat, I don't want those interjections that the enemy will try to create to take away the honoring of the Feast of Tabernacles and everything it represents and means that I take seriously to do at my home around the time. I don't want to have to be having a gun in my tabernacle or stressing about the boogeyman coming out at night or physically getting threatened by a hog infiltration around a holy time where I just go out to be with Father, honoring what the Feast of Tabernacle is all about. But other than that, other than not camping outside, what do you guys think about this? What should I do? What would you do? Shalom.